Hi, I'm Victoria, a licensed esthetician, and this is my business partner and husband, Chris. And today we're going to talk about how we reached 2.6 million accounts in 30 days, which is absolutely insane, so crazy. Can't even fathom that many people have seen our content, and that we also made 5 million impressions. Just so crazy. So there's two main things that I want to talk about with this topic, which is consistency and being intentional with your post. And eventually we want to get into, a little bit more how you can get more reach. But those two main things are so important, and something that we really focused on in this new year was just making sure that we wanted to grow our account and reach more people. And it's crazy when you do put in the effort and are super intentional with your posts, how the results show, So
I think at the end of the year we made a goal, kind of like a New Year's resolution. We had a not really rough December, but we were on a downward slope when we got to end of November, into December, as far as our reach went. Mm-hmm. And I think we were feeling really burned out. I mean, we post a lot. I mean, we average post on 5 days a week onto the feed, not including stories.
Yeah.
And so then we started missing some days. And then I think it was creative burnout more than anything else, because posting for us isn't too hard. We have a really good system for it.
Yeah.
We've been doing it a lot now, so that's really not the issue so much as actually posting. But then posting things that you feel good about, like you feel it was fun creating, all the way until it goes out into the world to go wow, I'm excited for people to see this and learn from this. And so, I think when we got towards the end of December, we were just kind of we wanted to give up.
And I think everyone can feel that with Instagram.
Yeah, and I think in different ways. Some people, maybe just the act of posting is a little bit more overwhelming when you have kids and you have the job, and getting on Instagram and being intentional is difficult.
Yeah, and giving up easily, because Instagram is hard,
Yeah, and I think fortunately for us, and I know this is unique to our situation, but Victoria, actually we got a brand deal from Instagram at the end of December, and we got two of them actually in December that really fired us up, because we were at a point where we should not give up on Instagram, but let's not focus on Instagram anymore. Most of our clients are coming from Google anyway. Let's continue to build on the website. Let's just slow down on Instagram and just kind of keep stuff coming out here and there. And then 2 brand deals in a month, which was more than we got in 4 or 5 months before that. So I think that really was what went, oh my gosh, Instagram is such a great place. It's such a unique place to get brand deals. And then we still do reach clients on there, of course. And we've actually reached more since we've been intentional again, which is also kind of funny.
Cool.
So anyways, I just wanted to give them a little backstory to that. You can jump in a little bit about, I think being intentional first is because that was one of the first things that we started off with, of going, any post that comes out, we want to feel good about.
Yeah,
right?
No. I think that one thing that really helped me was, number one, I think when you get into starting Instagram, you're always comparing yourself to other people, what other people do, what works for them. And honestly, what works for somebody else may not work for you. So, what we did was we looked at our old content, just kind of studied what did well and what didn't, and then also getting inspiration from other people too. So whether that's scrolling on Instagram, going through trending sounds and reels, that's what inspires me the most, just literally watching something and coming up with it on the spot. There's been so many times where we lay out at night and I'm ooh, I'm gonna I look and I'm gonna make this reel, so
Victoria will be up at 10:30 sometimes, and I just hear the same song playing over and over and over again, and I'm like, you're editing something, and she's like, should I post it right now? And I'm like, Victoria, it's 11 o'clock. It means it's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. You're not posting this right now. And she's like, and
I draft a lot of content.
Yeah, and that's the excitement of it, right? And I think that we don't spend too much, or we try not to spend too much time just mindlessly scrolling, but scrolling in a way that's intentional.
Yeah.
So even for me, speaking on the scrolling subject, I have my personal Instagram that I don't post much on, but my feed and my Explore is much different than the Skin by You. It's not in the esthetician community. So even me scrolling and looking through over there gives me a different inspiration. I have a lot of cinematography, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of photographers that are on my Explore page and on my feeds itself. So I can bring some of that inspiration over into the aesthetic space and go, hey,
Yeah.
Victoria, I like this idea. How can we bring this over to our niche?
Yeah.
You know?
No, definitely. Yeah, scrolling can definitely bring a lot of inspiration. I try not to scroll too much and to make things my own, which I think when it comes down to Instagram, I think that people just think that if you're even if you are consistent, that I post every single day and I still don't get an outcome. It's like, okay, you need to look at your posts and seeing what you can do better on, not just posting every single day. And so when I say consistent, that's only one half of it.
Yeah, the
so when you're
consistent
being
has to come with intentionality,
yes.
right?
And so, but when you are intentional with the consistency and not just staying stagnant of what you are doing, because clearly if you're being consistent for 30 days and it's not working, you need to switch something up. So when you're consistent with your posts, it's so good to look at your own post to see what did well in that 30 days and being intentional and just figuring out what does best for you and not being a copy and paste of somebody else, but making it your own. I mean, there will be endless times where I'm scrolling on Instagram and I'm like, ooh, I have this idea and I want to like make this video, you know, like a text, you know, I want to add certain text to the video that, you know, comes from inspiration of, even if I did watch a reel, you know, from somebody else.
Yeah, I didn't mean to like jump in and try to cut you off. I just like when you said not to be a copy and paste of other people, but I think also not being a copy and paste of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I see a lot of people get caught up is that they're just regurgitating the same exact style of content that they feel comfortable with, and they just keep doing that over and over and over and over again if it works or it doesn't work. And I think that could go wrong in either direction, even for us.
It can get old for people.
Yeah, we have stuff that goes really, it pops off and does super well, and we still don't go, okay, let's make this 20 more times.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we
If
do
it
want
worked,
to,
it worked.
we want to capitalize off that and go, okay, what style, like people like this style.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you keep doing the same thing over, it can get old.
That's a good point. With that being said too, though, I think that there is a balance of like, you can repurpose content. I think that's a whole nother video that we can do, because I think that would be a really cool topic to talk about, like repurposing your content. But anyways, yeah, consistency and being intentional. Also like the amount of time that your post is playing. I mean, people's retention, like people have attention spans of a fly these days, including me. So when you're making a video, keeping that in mind too, of, okay, how can I make a hook? How can I make this catchy? How can I get somebody to like stay watching the video so that Instagram can push my content out?
And I think there's
more?
2 ways to do that. One, just don't make your videos longer than 8 seconds. It's super simple. And
don't drag out a clip because you think it looks cool. I learned that the hard way.
We do that still sometimes. And I think that, you know, even for us, you know, sometimes our content is kind of cinematic is what I like to, that's what I go for at least. And I hope people can get that from our content. But I think that even the cinematography is really easy to drag out. So if you do have beautiful clips, just put more clips in and then trim them all to shorter, you know, 2-3 seconds each. So people are constantly going. And if you don't want to do that, then just take a 7-second long clip, find a good audio for it, and let people just watch it and loop and loop and loop and loop.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that also a lot of people look at our content and see obviously high quality. And I think something that is super unique about Chris and I is that when we are in the studio together, he may have a different vision than I have. So when we put together our own vision, it's really creative and it's really cool. And sometimes, for instance, he wanted light and airy, and I'm like, no, I want moody. And Moody has been doing really well on our Instagram. So
definitely was a learning thing for me, because I was like, I don't know if that's what, we haven't done that before. And now the style, I mean, that's been in the past 30 days is what got us to reach it did.
Yeah. So I think that with that being said, I want to touch base on high quality content. Clearly that's what we have. Some people have this perception that Chris is just my videographer and that's why things work for me. And it's not that. I mean, he is amazing at what he does, but like, if I just put up a minute-long video of his work, it wouldn't work. Like it's it's true. So crazy. I mean, just because you have high-quality content doesn't mean that it's gonna get good reach. And so I think that's where it comes to you being creative in your own, you know, creative as you know, creative on Instagram. So whether that being high quality or non I mean, I guess
high quality HD or non-HD.
Yeah, like iPhone versus
compared to
like a camera.
camera.
So I think that's something that's really important too. I don't want people to think that they have to get stuck on having a professional camera. That's not it. It's literally, I mean, angles are a huge part, to be honest.
And that's with the iPhone
good lighting,
or a camera.
And you can have good lighting with your own setup. And so just so everyone knows, just because you have high quality does not mean that it's going to perform well. And you can be successful with or without a professional camera.
And with that being said, I mean, looking at our own content the past 30 days, our best piece of content this past 30 days was not a reel. It's a before and after of a nose, a close-up nose that Victoria took a while back and found it recently and went, oh, this is a great one. Let's drop this in there. It reached 550,000 people. That's more than all of our reels got more views, more plays. But what reached the most people in the past 30 days still, and that's where it can drive me a little bit crazy because I have all this equipment and we go in there and have these big film days, which those do great too, and they're great for our brand. But it's just for you guys to remember as well. You don't need a husband that happens to do photo and video and have this duo, right? I mean, a before and after goes a long way. And even for us, I mean, if we looked at our analytics right now, a lot of our before and afters are in the top 10 that aren't the professional videos that took me, an hour to film and 2 hours to edit.
I do feel like once your account gets to a certain, I feel like it is harder to build with a before and afters versus like, I feel like your account has to have like, Instagram has to trust you some way.
I think, I agree, but I also just go, if you do that for long enough, you can build that trust.
It's the same concept as like posting reels.
Because of course our before and afters pop way more than an account with, 2,000 followers because of our following. But we have had, when we had a smaller following, we had before and afters that we went, what the heck? How did this get 400 likes? We've never got more than 100.
Exactly. Right? And too, I mean, going back to the professional versus iPhone quality, I mean, I have taken plenty of my whole thing, my niche that I did on my own. I don't even know how I thought of it or when I did it, but out of, one day I just kept taking after videos of my clients and their glow. And for some reason, Instagram, I was like, oh, this is going to be my thing. I'm going to just post after and put text to it. And so that was my thing. And they do so well. So you just have to keep trying and don't give up on your Instagram, because I have plenty of iPhone quality videos that do just as well as my professional
Speaking of
videos.
that, we should probably do one of those this week. We haven't done one in a little while. I mean, this is why we have these conversations. It's because it inspires us to go this week. Because, even our professional videos, we go in and we film a bunch of content, but we don't repurpose that content more than at least, more than really 3 or 4 times within a month.
I feel like if you don't have a passion for, you have to have like a creative, not that you're not creative with an iPhone, but I'm saying I would not suggest somebody getting a camera if they're not creative or they have no desire to learning it, because there's a lot more that goes to it. And me and Chris were both photographers when we met. I wasn't full-time or anything in it, but we both took photos together. So we just always have carried that creativity and that passion through, through my industry. And so I think that's important too. Don't get caught up on a professional camera. And if it's not your passion, don't force yourself to do something that you're not into, if that makes sense.
And that can go back on kind of branding that we talked about in our last episode or 2 episodes ago. If you haven't seen that one, I think it's a really important topic as well, because our brand is all this high quality content, and our brand also, we do more brand deals, and because of the more brand deals we do, we have less days of you in the studio. So somebody else might have more days in person in the business, and so they don't need a bunch of high quality content out. I wouldn't say our high quality content necessarily just draws all the crowds in and gets us fully booked out. It's a mixture between the brand as a whole that people like. They like Victoria, they like her face, they like the way she speaks, the stuff that we sell. So it's the same thing. We constantly get bombarded with, what camera do you use? How do you film? What do you do? And it's like, it's not for everybody. And there's some people that we look at that I'm jealous of the content they're able to make with their iPhone that Victoria can't do. That's out of your comfort zone. That's just not what you do. You can't get on the camera and dance, or some of the memes, the esthetician memes that we see that are hilarious that it's just our brain could never
gosh.
put those together.
So funny.
But then watching other people do it, like it's almost like I wish I had that idea, but that's not our brand.
I know, it's so crazy when you look at somebody else. I mean, I can think of like a few accounts right now that I'm like, dang, they're so funny. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could just post things. And how does your brain even go there? And so I think it's the same concept as like you said, funny reels versus like creativity. Yeah. And so it's just
there's a space for both.
Yeah, right? There's a space for both, and I think that's what makes it so unique. And so number one, don't be so hard on yourself if your account isn't growing. I think that there's so much more to it, and if you don't have a passion for it, like there's no pressure in that. I think that everybody sees other, high account poppin'. I was gonna say poppin'.
Poppin' accounts. You could say poppin'. I mean, that's okay.
It's just weird. But anyways,
bigger accounts.
Bigger
more followed
accounts. Yes, and it puts this pressure as an esthetician or whatever your industry is to be that. And in all honesty, I mean, I do have a good handful of clients from Instagram and Google. Those are my two top sources where I get clients, but like it's not an end all be all. Yeah. So I think that if that's what you want and that's what you are desiring for, I think that's what you have to have a purpose into what your Instagram is. I mean, for a long time we didn't even know that, and so like just recently we have been like, okay, like we get brand deals from it. It supports our family, and
I think we love doing it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I
love
enjoy
creating the cinematic and editing, and
I don't like posting. I mean, the idea of Instagram a whole can be overwhelming, and then stuff flops. And it could be kind of like it can take a hit at you. But I think we both love creating.
Yeah.
Right. Like we love getting in there and filming this content and getting inspired again. And I think
it's almost like another industry that we're like in. We're like in aesthetics, but we also have like a different. Like we have two passions into one, which is like so cool.
And it opens up doors for myself to do marketing and content for other companies and other businesses because of this. It keeps me sharp in the things that I love to do. I mean,
sometimes
I stay home.
I feel like I'm like the director. Like I'm like, okay, this shot. We're like in the studio.
Yeah, because like I stay home with the kids, so I think it gives me. I mean, when you work, you're doing what you love, and so now through this, I get to hang out with my wife, which I really enjoy doing something I love, which is kind of a win-win. So it's kind of I have really thought about it until this conversation of going like, we just love creating content. We love doing videos. I mean, if we could, we would film 10 times as many as we do already. If we could film in our studio once a week, we would. But we don't have babysitters, getting people into film. Like, I mean, we've talked a little bit about this before, but we go to film, we have to bring somebody in. Sometimes we bring the kids in there. We have a bigger studio now, so it's not like we're in a tiny room, but like the kids have to be there. And it takes people understanding that the baby gets fed right before we film, so it's
like
it's a weird
today,
life.
We went and filmed, and we had both the kids, and it was just us, and it was like a huge like ordeal. It was like, okay, get the baby over here, get the kid over there, and then we're like yelling at Jace like, don't touch this, and so like there's just so much more. It's not like we just peacefully go in and we're like,
we get to film
today
content
we're gonna
all
film.
the time,
and I think that's like the reality of, and I'm like, I should probably share more on Instagram. Like
it's hard.
This is my life.
It can feel stressful.
In that moment, the last thing that I'm thinking about is posting on Instagram, and so I'm just really happy. Me and Chris have a really great work-life balance, and we do work a lot because we're trying to accomplish like our goals, but we spend so much family time, and that's why I'm not on stories a lot, because that's not the first thing that I think of to like film everything and film my family, and I try my best, but
with that, I think that's where we get jealous of somebody else, of other estheticians that are not just necessarily that they don't spend time with their family, but they feel really comfortable doing that, and
like,
they find their windows. And then somebody
can look at me and be like, "How do you have the time?" And I'm like, "I don't have the time."
So I think that's like one of those things that, I mean, I'm sure people compare them.
The thief of joy.
Yeah, I'm sure people compare themselves to us, and us having we can do high quality, and they go, "Well, she has a husband," and then we look at other people and go like, "I wish you could be in your stories that much and just sit all day and talk."
How many people like are like, "Wow, that must be so nice," and I'm like, I'm dying over here. Like, it's not like I just have like, oh yeah, come film my videos, and that would be nice. Like, and then I don't have to edit anything. Like, here, just do everything.
Like, we're not just like both grinding with the kids. Like right now, it's 9:00 at night. We had an early start tonight. It's actually an early start because I got to edit all this tonight. But I mean, we have to get the kids to bed. Everything's a big ordeal, And then, I mean, even the pressure that we put on this content. I mean, the growth we've gotten is also not ordinary because we are working like we're hungry. You know,
Yeah.
we're hungry to grow on social media right now
Yeah.
because it helps feed the family. You know, the social media brings brand deals, it can bring in clients.
Yeah.
So for us, this is everything, and that's where you have to look at yourself and your Instagram to go like, hey, maybe your business is bringing a ton of referrals right now. Maybe you're partnering with somebody next door and constantly get new clients in. Then maybe focus on that. Maybe focus on a better client experience. Maybe focus on, you know, what new ways your studio could get better, or, you know, learning more, you know, furthering your education. And for us right now, that's not where we are. What we are right now is we need to post 7 days a week, because the more we post, the more brand deals that come in, and the more likely it is to book a new client. And that's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps these very expensive lights that are on us right now. So I think that's where you have to look at yourself and just go, I mean, we want to talk about this and open it up because we want to inspire, right? I think it's exciting to inspire and tell people that, like, just a husband-wife duo that has a small business for a year.
And I think it's really cool that we're able to, like, talk about these things to our 3 viewers, but I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. But I think it's just really cool that we're able to expand on these topics, that it's not just rainbows and butterflies. It's not what you see on Instagram of like, it's beautiful, cinematic. She's so lucky. It's like, no, there's so much more that goes into it. But on a brighter note, why are you laughing?
No, just because like we had like such a good hook for this video. Like, this is how we reach, and then we're like 20 minutes into the podcast, we're like, it's hard to reach 2.6 million.
We're like
people.
Dying. We're like, it's hard.
Like we were like reaching. Selling you on like why it was so amazing, and then now we're like halfway through the podcast, like it was so hard though.
Yes.
But anyway, sorry, I don't know where you're going from there.
No, I was just gonna say that I think, like we said, we kind of went into depth of, you know, our life, and obviously, but all these things, you know, it does come down to consistency and being intentional. So we are actually going to have we're working on a course right now, which is really exciting. And we're going to just go into these topics in depth so that you guys can grow your accounts if that's something that you're interested in. Understanding social media, why captions matter, and then, you know, of course, esthetician educational videos as well. Because we get so many people in our direct messages on Instagram. So it's just, we're super excited to just, you know, continue to expand our knowledge and to share it with others. And we hope that we can be an inspiration to others. So
if you've liked these videos, and if you have been watching any of the podcasts, if you're one of the 3 people who watch every single one of these podcasts and you've enjoyed them, the course is going to be a way more in-depth on these, and then a lot more specific. So you can see exactly what things we posted and what things worked and didn't work. And then we can give, you know, I say you, like you're the one that's going to be paying for the course. We give you actual actionable items of what to go do to be able to reach people, to be able to book new clients, to be able to get brand deals, whatever you're necessarily going for in your niche. So if that's something that you're excited about, feel free to drop questions down, reach out to us on Instagram and DM us, because as we're gathering information from this, we're gathering what estheticians need and what they're looking for in the space.
But don't worry, if you have any questions, we're going to be dropping videos like
and we
once
also,
a month.
So. And then the course will be constantly updated, so it's not like a now or never. Like if you don't get your question in now, the video will not be made.
But I think that, I mean, every single one of these episodes, we always kind of, you know, explain a little bit more of our life and what it entails. So thank you so much for listening and staying tuned staying tuned. Cut.
No, it's rolling through.
So thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate every single one of you. And if you are following us along our journey, we appreciate and love you so much. But we'll see you next time. Thank you.